It's a video about E3. It's a top 10 video. People still care about that stuff, right? Every year we have the Electronic Entertainment Expo event, or E3 as the cool kids call it, where all the big gaming companies give themselves verbal blowjobs about how great they are and talk about all the amazing shit they've got in the works, only for a minute percentage of that shit to be actually amazing, and the rest of it being either underwhelming or rage-worthy if you're a monetized YouTube personality, because that's the best way to make money on YouTube, I suppose, is to act like an idiot over something that really doesn't matter. But I digress. I don't generally talk about E3 because I don't generally care for E3. I'll follow whatever announcements that come out of the woodworks just because, but unless there's something that really piques my interest, anything that comes out of E3 is usually met with a shrug and I just move on with my day. It also doesn't help that my gaming interests are more tuned towards a somewhat older, more archaic persuasion. So any announcements regarding a new Xbox console or a new God of War or VR this or 4K that, or whatever the case, means nothing to me. I suppose I could show a little enthusiasm for the upcoming Star Wars Battlefront 2, but truth be told, I've never played the last one, never really had any need to do so since I've been perfectly content playing old Star Wars Battlefront 2, which is just as fun of a game as I recall it being. Now, despite not caring about E3, I opted to do something somewhat different and try to find at least 10 things that could potentially make me care about E3. And there were a couple of things that I actually did care about at E3, but the rest of the list is probably just padding and random observations. I'm recording this opening bit before the list is compiled, but nonetheless, E3 is a cool thing at the moment, and the cool kids on YouTube and social media love top 10 lists, so I figure I might as well jump on that particular dead horse that's on another particular dead horse and do an E3 thing. Although my E3 thing is going to be different from your E3 thing because, again, differing tastes and all. Nonetheless, here's my list of top 10 E3 things that I actually cared about. It's the best title I could come up with, sorry. I'm listing this in no particular order, but we're doing a countdown format because that means I could do stupid little edits like this. Hey, did you know that Ubisoft made a Just Dance 2017 for the original Wii? The first one, the one that came out in 2006, that was a real thing that was actually sold in Walmarts, at least, for budget prices around the same time it was a launch title for the brand spanking new Nintendo Switch. I, of course, didn't buy it because I don't care about Just Dance in general. So why is this 2018 iteration worth caring about? It isn't. But they just announced the Wii version to go along with the Wii U and the Switch versions, because sure, why not? So if we ever get to a point 20 to 30 years down the road where Nintendo is developing mobile games and the video game industry is all but dead, Wii owners can be confident that they can look forward to Ubisoft putting out annual editions of this idiotic game, and they'll wonder, and I quote, "Why would anyone play this?" Hey, look everyone, Nintendo just announced brand spanking new Metroid games. Well, almost brand new. One game's a sequel and the other's a remake, but still, new Metroid, so that's something. Nintendo Switch owners can look forward to Metroid Prime 4, which will make some folks happy even if it's a different studio behind the project. Meanwhile, Nintendo announced a 3DS game called Metroid Samus Returns, which happens to be a remake of the Game Boy title Metroid 2 Return of Samus. That's actually quite a surprise, actually. Mind you, I kinda wish this was also on the Switch rather than the 3DS, but still, a Nintendo remake of Metroid 2. And it's by Mercury Steam, the same folks who did those Castlevania Lords of Shadows games. This actually piques my interest a bit. Enough to get a 3DS? Probably not, but still, it's something, I guess. Tired of making questionable emulator boxes or repackaging subpar NES clone systems? Hyperkin has announced the Retron 77, which, contrary to what the name would imply, is not a console capable of replicating 77 video game consoles, but rather is just a Atari 2600 clone system that allows you to play old 2600 video games in glorious 1080p or something to that extent. I guess we couldn't afford 4K or something. That's all well and good. It's nice to have some more modern alternatives to play your old Atari cartridges that isn't just relegated to the flashback plug-and-play things. That having been said, I'm kinda lukewarm to the idea. It's nice to have, but not something I'd really need, though like I said, it's a nice modern alternative for those who really need it. Now, if you manage to whip up an Atari 7800 clone system or maybe a ColecoVision clone system, then you could have my money, but until then, maybe if this shows up in a flea market or something, I might pick it up for a lark, but I'm sure somebody will like this one. Mario and Rabbids. Mario and Rabbids. Now, see, Mario and Rabbids in a crossover game, that I can buy. That I can accept. However, sticking Rabbids in a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles video game as guest characters, FTS. And I'll let you fill in the blanks on that last bit. Other than that, I have no real opinion on this game, but who knows? Looks pretty decent. Hope it plays as well. Wow, sweet! Dr. Ashen's getting his own video game? That's great. That's wait, hold on. This. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I must have confused this for something else. Yeah, my bad. Never mind, everyone. Let's try this again and let's forget this ever happened. Well, too late now, but you know what I mean. Going back to Samus Returns, that Metroid 2 remake that Nintendo was going to be putting out, I'm wondering if this piece of business was the reason why they shut down that fan-made remake that was put out a year or so ago. I actually played AM2R. I thought it was a really well done piece of work. Maybe it wouldn't be such a bad idea to include that as a bonus of sorts. I know, that's kind of really stretching it, more so than the rest of this video. I don't know, barring that, might as well just include the original Metroid 2, which is a weird thing to say, but nonetheless, do a similar deal where you had the original with the remake, much like what you did with Zero Mission and the original Metroid. Just a thought. A side-scrolling run-and-gun game whose visual aesthetics match the appearance and the art style of old cartoons from the 1930s. Cuphead's a game that's been known for a while. I think it was announced back in 2014 here or there. But they announced the release date as September 29th and it'll be on sale for about $20. It'll be an Xbox One exclusive, which means I won't be playing it anytime soon, but oh wait, what's that? Oh, it'll also be on PCs through Steam and Windows. Oh, I guess I will be playing it then. Maybe it's a good thing I switched PCs when I did, because I needed the extra horsepower, but then... Okay, wait, hold on. If something is announced as console exclusive, and then you'll say it'll also be on PC, then it's no longer console exclusive, because you could also play it on your computer, which is not a console, and not the same thing, and my head hurts, Jesus Christ. I think this video is giving me a bit of a cold too. You know, could be the weather too, but hey, I guess I could play Cuphead now when it comes out, and that's actually something, I'm actually curious about that one. It looks nice. I hope it plays as well. Reggie. Just flippin' Reggie. I swear to God, this man scares my dog to sleep. Turns out her body is not ready. Seriously, Reggie. Never change. Never, ever change. Oh boy, I'm really stretching here, aren't I? How many entries I got left? Oh, holy balls. So Microsoft announced that Xbox One will be backwards compatible with original Xbox games. And when I say backwards compatible, I don't mean backwards compatible, as in you pop in an original Xbox game into your Xbox One and you can play the game just like that. No, when I say backwards compatible, I really mean backwards compatible. Where you pop in an original Xbox game into your Xbox One, and if it's on the list of supported titles, you'll get a digital license to play an emulated version that's probably available for purchase from the Xbox Store or whatever it's called. So it's not really backwards compatibility, it's just emulation. But if you have the original disc for a specific game that's supported, then you don't have to buy the game again with your money to play it, and you know what, it's something. While I might not see a whole lot of use except for newbies that might have original Xbox games or original 360 games laying around to sort of have like a base collection to work with, it's a nice option to have since there's a lot of good original Xbox games that are fun to play to this very day. The issue of backwards compatibility is something we might touch on in a future video, but for now, I don't know, that's all I got. Sony, on the other hand, is not a fan of that whole backwards compatibility thing. Probably because it intrudes with their PlayStation Now service, whatever that is. Seriously, what the fuck is PlayStation Now? I'm asking a legit question here, I honestly don't know. I'm out of that whole PlayStation loop, but I digress. Apparently, the head of Sony Europe, Jim Ross, went to a place where they had a bunch of old Gran Turismo games for PS1 and PS2, and he thought they looked rubbish, prompting him to ask, and I quote, "Why would anyone play this?" Interestingly enough, that's the same question I ask myself in regards to approximately 90% of the modern gaming scene today, but again, I digress. Just like the card says, I've got nothing. Yeah, you know what? Aside from maybe 1 or 2 items on this list, everything is perhaps too much of a stretch to say that I actually cared. More like mildly curious or even interested, but cared? I've got nothing. Sorry. And that's my list of top 10-ish E3 things that I guess I cared about or was mildly interested in. Don't forget to rate, like this video, leave a comment, subscribe, give me your money, and buy a t-shirt. Thanks for watching, everybody, and until next time, take care and good night. Cheers. Okay, we're done? We're done with this? Okay, great, fantastic. This is a bad idea. I don't think I'm going to do any more of these top 10 things. It's just god-awful. I don't know, man. Why am I even...